Joining me now, Congressman Byron Donalds, member of the House Oversight Committee, and Tim Parlatore. He is a former attorney for President Trump. Thank you both for being here. Congressman, what do these stories tell you about the threat to democracy, and why do we hear so little about this brazen election tampering?
Well, first, the stories tell me it confirms what we already know. It's what Democrats do before every election. Before every election, they go into court and they sue constantly, trying to get weakening of election laws or just complete removal of election procedures on many different areas. This is what happened before the 2020 election. They were in court everywhere trying to get things like these drop boxes in every municipality in the country, saying that it was too hard to vote because of COVID-19. People needed to drop it in a receptacle outside the building. That was a joke and a lie. It is not needed. But they do this every single time because they want to weaken the infrastructure of voting. They want to weaken the controls around voting. They want to make it easy for these outside groups to drop ballots all over the place and to subvert the will of the voters who actually take their time to do their work. These outside groups need to go. These ballot harvesting operations need to go. But this is part and parcel of what the Democrats do. These stories now demonstrate what we've already have known. The reason why nobody knows about it is because big media is not going to cover this. They only want to talk about January 6th. That's all they want to talk about. I was
stunned when I came across these stories and I'd heard nothing of them anywhere, nowhere. Tim, even CNN's legal analyst knows how silly this main ballot situation is, trying to strip Trump from the ballot. Watch this.
If you look at the hearing, and she details this in the ruling, they heard from one fact witness, a law professor. She based her ruling on a lot of documents, but also YouTube clips, news reports, things that would never pass the bar in normal court.
Tim, is there any legal justification for removing Trump from the ballot and invoking the 14th Amendment to do so? I mean, does it even apply? I read the 14th Amendment today. His office, the presidency, doesn't seem to be stipulated there when they mention Congress people and senators. Those offices are explicated, not the president.
Well, I mean, I think that this is something that Congress has already codified. You know, it's in Title 18 U.S. Code for a criminal code section on insurrection. It's defined. It has a sentence up to 10 years in prison and permanently being barred from holding public office. That is the proper procedure. You have to indict somebody, you have to try them and convict them, and that's how you remove them from the ballot. And what's important to remember here is that multiple grand juries sitting in Washington, D.C., hearing the direct evidence, not just some law professor, they've all declined to bring this charge. Even in the Oath Keepers case, they decided to go one level below that for the seditious conspiracy and declined to actually bring an insurrection charge. So nobody's been charged with an insurrection. Nobody's been convicted of an insurrection, so saying that somebody participated in it and removing them from the ballot really does go against the rule of law.
Yeah. An attorney wrote in Maine today, none of what has transpired or is upcoming is anti-democratic in our system of constitutional government or unlawful interference with the election or the right to vote. This is the process by which the rule of law is actualized in our system of government. Congressman, very quickly, how is taking off, removing a leading candidate from a major political party not anti-democratic?
It's very anti-democratic. Anybody that says otherwise is a fool and is lying to the American people. I want to talk to Democrat voters for a moment. You rank and file Democrat voters, you work hard, you live life, you're not really political. You have people in your party who are radicals, who are anti-democratic. They don't believe in the will of the people. They don't believe in votes in the ballot box, legitimate ones. They don't even believe in the rule of law and actually following the rule of law. They only care about their agenda. You got to stop voting for these people because they are the ones who are destroying America's republic. They are the ones who are threats to our democracy.
Congressman Tim, thank you. We will leave it there. Happy New Year.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.